So I just wanted to say thanks again to Klaus. Now that we are recording, Klaus Rosenstein, that will be here with you, helping you, shaping your paper ideas about digital disruption and transformation, professor for Digital Hub Denmark, which is our main supporter for the ISPIM conference. Thank you very much, Klaus. And as last session, we have not one, but two special interest group co-leaders. And actually there is a fun story because they really fought for the entire December to decide who will be the one that will support you, because we had 4 special interest group leaders that wanted to help you, but we selected only 2. And we have, beside Klaus, also Professor Daniel Schalmo from the University of Applied Science in Neu-Ulm in Germany. And I don't know if I'm doing things good, Daniel and Klaus, but I think that this digitalization industry 4.0 is something related with Germany, because it's a term coined by Germany, I think, Industry 4.0. And according to the Digital and Society and Economy Index, I think that Denmark is always at the first stage. So we have one from Denmark, one from Germany. I think that this session is fully packed to have 2 great experts about digitalization, digital disruption and transformation. And I'm so happy that you will share some insight with us and with our junior researcher. So welcome to you all. And without any further ado, Daniel, Klaus, please, you may start your very fascinating session. Are you able to share the screen, Daniel, or do I have to?
We are able.
Very good.
Yeah, great. Klaus, as you are the initiator of the SIG, I leave the stage to you, and then I can, if you are okay, I can add some insights.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, this special interest group started with quite a lot of people interested in disruption, and then we thought, well, disruption and transformation, they are really 2 intervened phenomena. So the thing is that, which you probably all of you know, that we have all these digital disruptive technologies out there, and digital disruptive technologies, they are developing with an exponential price performance. And this is the only difference from disruptive technologies in general. Seems like a small thing, however, it is a very, very big thing, because everything is becoming digital, and thus the room for possibilities in business life and public administrations are exploding. So we are moving from a situation of bounded rationality, as Herbert Simon told us about, into a situation of bounded imagination. That's kind of the next frontier. And the thing is that we really want to look into the potential of the digital media, because when I say digital media, it's because a computer is both, as you all know, a calculator and a media. So it's a media machine. And we can leverage that for many types of digital transformation. So we kind of explore digital disruptive technologies in order to leverage for leveraging digital transformation. So that's kind of the overall scope for this special interest group. And then we do have some specific interest in that. And of course, some of it is about papers. And it's also why we are interested in this paper development workshop. And we do have some ideas for, we do have some events or topics that will happen on ISPIM in Copenhagen. So first, Daniel will talk a little about the plans for publications, because this is why you are. and then I will promote some of our special intergroups initiatives in Copenhagen very shortly.
Yeah.
So Daniel, did you leave me?
Sorry?
You are there. Okay, sorry, I was looking
I'm
at
here.
another screen which was empty. So,
All right.
Yeah. So please tell these nice gentlemen and ladies about the publications possibilities that we're working on.
Yes, I would love to. So yeah, welcome from my side. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the invite, Leandro. Happy to see you again. Dinah, also happy to see you. We are working on another project together. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and I would like to share some insights from our point of view, what kind of possibilities we see in general regarding this topic of digitalization or digital disruption and transformation. Okay, starting with something we presented at the ISPIM, just to give you a small insight on different levels that you can actually consider doing research in the context of digital transformation or digital disruption. Okay, so this is something I presented at the ISPIM in November in Valencia, and it's based on our paper Understanding Digitalization. And here you see something we call like the holistic view. Okay, so we have developed, we started here at this this point here, the digital transformation of business models. That was like 6 years ago. Okay, because I come from the business model innovation view or world, more or less. Okay, so that's my community basically, and this is where I started. We thought, how can we actually develop business model further, also in the context of digital transformation? So we combined both topics in our research, and we also have a paper on this in the International Journal of Innovation Management. Based on this, we then said, okay, there's something above this more or less tactical level. Yeah, this is the tactical level. So we said there's something going on here on the strategic level. Okay, so more long-term oriented, right? And also based on this, we said, well, if there's a strategic level and a tactical level, there must be something in the operational level. So this is why we said these are the 3 levels we consider as more or less relevant regarding digital transformation and digital disruption. Okay, so if you combine now another view, then you have here more or less the part of digital maturity. Okay, because you can measure digital maturity for each level, more or less. And also, if you want to go even further, you can say, okay, digital leadership is going on somewhere here. One time on the institutional level, so digital leadership for companies, okay, and one time on the personal level, if it comes to the manager, yeah, how does a manager actually lead? So that's basically the world we are considering. And of course, you can build, I don't know, case studies on digital strategy. Okay, so you can have maybe different companies and compare them regarding their digital strategies, or you can have something comparing different countries. Yeah, or you can consider different kind of approaches that are existing for digital strategy or for digital transformation and so on. So that's just to give you a small insight on the context. Of course, all this is embedded into the macro and micro environment. Yeah, so you have some influencing factors that come from both environments. So this is more or less the general level, and this is more or less the industrial level. Okay, so having this in mind, we then were asked to actually create the call for paper for the upcoming ISPIM. So you see this here. One second. Here, where you find some of the aspects I've shown you, you find them here. Okay. So on the one side, of course, we have all these general themes that are standardized in every ISPIM. They are actually relevant. But here on the left side, you see more or less the focus themes. Okay, and the focus themes are considering digitalization, including digital disruption, transformation, and platforms. Okay, then you have this strategy aspect I was talking about. You have the transformation aspect and also the implementation aspect on the operational level. And here you have technology, for example, you have organization, skills, culture, and so on. And in addition to that, what I've just shown you, we have, of course, the platforms, drivers, and the environment. That's the embedded macro and micro environment I've shown you. Then, of course, disruptive business models and digital entrepreneurship and digital innovation management. So those are like the main or focus themes we are addressing here at the ISPIM in Copenhagen. And as I said, you can focus on several kind of aspects. You know, you can have more or less the practical view. Yeah, so you have innovation and practice stories and cases, for example. Yeah, or you focus on research in progress or research results, as you already know, regarding like case studies, regarding methodologies, regarding literature reviews, regarding some proof of concept, right? Things that you can actually focus on here. So that's basically the main topic. And this is more or less based on what we did last summer. We started the special issue in the International Journal of Innovation Management. Okay, so there we have something similar. We have the strategy, transformation, and implementation. Okay, and here you see, I mean, it's the deadline is over now, yeah, but I just want to give an insight of where we are focusing on, yeah, in general, where the direction is going to regarding digitalization and regarding different kind of approaches and research methods you can apply here. Okay, so here you find again some ideas, some background, also some aims and the scope, for example, and topics that can maybe help you for also for the upcoming ISPIM. Yeah, drivers, maturity, strategy, transformation, and so on. Yeah, so you find this call for paper on the homepage of the International Journal of Innovation Management, and you can get some insights from there. And based on this here, this one, we then have another opportunity that's brand new because it's not has been published yet. We just signed the contract a few hours ago. Is this special issue from the Management for Professionals? This is not a journal, okay? It's a edited book. What we already have created one in the past with Joe Titt, and it's in cooperation with Springer and the ISPIM. And in this one, we are focusing on entrepreneurship in the digital era, also case studies, approaches, and so on. Yeah. So the reason why I'm showing you all this is that you understand that all these topics are interconnected somehow. Okay. It's a story that goes on, right? So we have one baseline, then we have different, specialities. We have maybe a focus topic we take out. Yeah. So this is something that's more or less the main topic we are focusing on regarding digitalization. Stefano writes, I discover what special issues always when they're, yeah. I mean, I can give you a hint on this. You should try to, like I have 4 doctoral students, right? And they tell me the same thing, what you just wrote, Stefano, after 1 or 2 or 3 months. And then they know that on a monthly basis, they have to check special issues, okay? You have to Google it. There are some databases for conferences on several topics, okay? There are some databases for call for papers and so on, yeah? So I advise you, to be there on time. It's ridiculous if you read something about a special issue and you try to write a paper in 1 month or so, yeah? So you have to try, of course, I mean, it's nothing new, right? You have to try to be prepared there. Right? So they know already what kind of special issues are coming up in next year, for example, yeah? And honestly, I find special issues very interesting. Why? Because you get immediate feedback and you can prepare your research based on the special issue topic. Okay, it's faster. Yeah, it's not taking so long like if you publish it or try to publish it in a normal track. Yeah, at least this is my experience. I know there are some differences between different kind of topics and domains, but this is what I feel actually, that you are more faster, you get immediate feedback, you can be more specific, right? And also the acceptance rate is a bit higher. Yeah. So that's what I can tell you about the topic, digitalization, and then transformation, strategy, implementation, disruption, platforms. You know, it's a big, yeah, it's a big topic actually, but it's always interconnected. Yeah. Any questions from your side or anything to add from your side, Klaus?
Yeah, the process from here and now about this Springer publication, special issue, is that we hope to harvest good papers from the ISPIM conference in Copenhagen and cultivate them to be published in the special issue. So you might think of this in your research strategy when you publish for ISPIM.
Mm-hmm. Anything to add? Any questions?
Well, we would like to hear if this might have your interest.
Exactly. I can, while we do that, I can send you something in the chat, some links.
So all that, yeah, we can ask everybody who thinks this might be an interesting opportunity. Please raise your hand. Yeah, 4-ish. Okay, good.
So just for your information, what I just said is about the databases. Here is a selection of links for special issues and for call for papers, okay? So just copy paste them, and there may be, I mean, you will see which ones are relevant to you, okay? But I think preparation is one thing, you know, relevance. And also, I don't know if, I mean, if you write to PhD, at least in Germany, it's like that my doctoral students, they have to have like a sound story, okay? They cannot write one paper going in this direction, the other paper going in the other direction completely. So it has to be sound, more or less, okay? So this is why I force them to have their storyline ready before they even start. Of course, knowing, you know, that it's going to change and all this. So, but then you have your story ready when you know, okay, first paper is literature review or bibliometric analysis, you know, further research, then this is done. Okay, this is more or less a standard thing. The second thing, second paper could be, I don't know, case studies. Yeah, you collect different case studies from a certain country or from a certain industry related to your topic, right? So you have maybe 5, 6 case studies, or you have 2 or 3 that are deep dived. Yeah, you create them with interviews maybe. Yeah, and also with normal desk research on a scientific basis. Okay, then you have this done. Okay, full stop. Next topic could be, for example, that you collect requirements from specialists, experts in the industry related to your topic, right? And then you have another paper there. Maybe you add some case studies there as well. And then another paper could be, if you're more or less focusing on design science, yeah, creating something new, creating an artifact, could be that you create a procedure to develop, I don't know, digital startups or digital entrepreneurship or whatever, yeah. And then you could approve it again with interviews. So basically, in 4 or 5 papers or 4 or 5 topics, yeah, you can create the complete storyline, yeah. And you always try to base whatever you have done on the previous paper. Say, okay, what we've done in the previous paper was this and that. Okay, then you finish with something. You say, oh, further research could be that we collect some more requirements from practice regarding this and that topic. Yeah, and then, you know, has to be a sound story. Yeah, what I feel in the beginning is that when someone starts, they sometimes have like an idea more in this direction, an idea more in that other direction, and it's not sound. Yeah. And this is something that could also lead to frustration. Yeah. Because if you don't have a plan, if you don't know, okay, in 3 or 4 years, I will be finished. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So when they start in the first 3 months, what they do is they write their expose, they write their complete storyline. They know exactly in what paper to publish what. Yeah. From the beginning. And then they keep working there. Yeah, of course, they maybe take a turn to the right or turn to the left, or maybe they have to move back 2 steps. That's fine. But the storyline is there. Yeah.
Normally you align it with your research question and your beginning, and then the publication possibilities do not align with your research questions, and then you have to put it into a matrix showing how this all fit together. But it's all about telling the story in the light of the past in the end. So Leo, we have these 4
right
suggestions. Probably we should move forward to discuss that, and perhaps there are some presentations.
Very good. Yeah, by the way, thank you also from my side. I think that this is very useful. If I may share my very little experience when I was, I can say was PhD student, because I finished last November. Actually, special issue call for paper are really useful, no matter the timing of your PhD, because they really help you find a fil rouge in cumulative thesis, like in my case. So for those of you who are doing several papers, I think that, first of all, you may find it a clearer way to your PhD route, let's say, like this. And second, I think that it helps you also to focus on what you will become, specialized into. And you, Daniel, you said, well, digital disruption and transformation is a super huge topic, but I come from a business model perspective. So I frame that field in that way. So I think that your suggestions are very useful. So thank you very much. Okay, we have at least 4 presenters, because I know that unfortunately Melissa couldn't make it. She has exam, but she had a very extensive description of her idea. So thank you very much, both of you, for the feedback. And we have Elena, Michele, Stefano, and Tina. I don't see Elena at the moment there, so I don't know if she's arriving, but I usually am ladies first. So if also Stefano and Michele agrees, like Italian gentlemen, they should, I will start with Tina. I don't know, Tina, if you have a PowerPoint presentation, or do you want me to share the Padlet, whatever you like?
Just share the Padlet, please.
Very good.
I'm not going to do a presentation. I'm just going to tell you a bit about what I am doing right now.
You see it, right?
Yeah.
Very good, thank you.
And I just I think it's best to tell you a bit about the genesis of this, but this was actually some data which was from a project that my supervisor and some other professors, they did on digitalization in SMEs. And they, at one point, they did this online sparring session where they offered to these companies that they could book an appointment, and then they could present their challenges and then get some sparring with 2 professors and a digitalization consultant, sort of a one-to-one sessions. And this was recorded. And when I saw this, I thought this was quite interesting. And what happened actually, it changed the whole topic of my PhD. I wanted to get into studying digitalization just on this handful of interviews, 5 sort of recorded sparring meetings. And because I thought there was an interesting story to tell there, and the interesting story was, in general, their customers were not ready to embrace these digital initiatives that these 5 firms they were pursuing. And okay, so what then? Then I started reading up, doing some reading some literature about it, and I would say that all of these challenges basically have been identified before in literature. Okay, there's not much specific on SMEs that is qualitative, like I want to do, which I only sort of like filter out 4 papers on that. The rest of the literature, it was sort of both mixed methods, it was quantitative studies, and a lot of it was actually also gray literature. So what to do? I then looked at, and I searched then for a framework, and this is what I write here, Appio et al. It was also a special issue where they sort of like make a meta synthesis on all these papers, how you could actually look, how you could study digital transformation. Because the more I looked at these companies, the more I could see this was actually digital transformation they were engaging in. I mean, all the symptoms were there, all the criteria I could set up, I could sort of basically tick those. And so it was a bit the way around, saying, okay, this is interesting, these companies, what can explain it? I didn't really find anything that could explain it. Okay, Appio, yes, this is a very wide framework. An interesting thing was when I first started taking, the first thing I did was actually I took the literature I had found and tried to put in these challenges that had been identified into this framework. For some reason, it was very difficult. And when I did it with the data of these companies, it was also very difficult. I'm looking at it, and this is the main contribution that I see that my paper could come up with, is that these challenges, they're really interrelated. So it doesn't, so you can actually question, does it even make sense to use this kind of framework? So this is what I am sort of, this is where I can see that my paper is going. I think those were the words. So comments, suggestions, inputs, they're very welcome. Questions also, if there's something that needs clarification.
I think the topic is quite interesting, right? Because it's a higher relevance, and of course, you said there has been published something before in this topic. But I think if you, on the one side, justify, your research method,
yeah,
right, on a clear way, and try to find the gap more or less, right? I think that can be useful on the one side. On the other side, if you said you cited gray literature, right?
Yeah, no, I want to get out of that. And this is I found quite a lot of gray literature. What they had done was actually go out, a questionnaire, all types of companies. What I say, no. This was the first avenue I pursued. What is there on SMEs?
Yes.
But yeah, and then I found 4 papers that actually dealt with challenges specifically. Yeah.
But I think, I mean, we always tend to say no to gray literature, normally, right? But there's an approach from Garuzzi.
Okay.
Garuzzi 2016 and 2019, where he calls it the multivocal literature review.
Yeah.
And it justifies applying gray literature. I'm not saying I would, this is my first choice, okay? I'm not saying that. But if you don't find anything in white literature, what we did in one paper said we looked in white literature for a specific topic. We didn't find anything, or like, I don't know, a very small part. And then we said, okay, we were forced to go to gray literature, but we did it also in a proper way. So we applied multivocal literature review, which justifies the way, or which explains exactly how to practice gray literature review, more or less.
Yeah.
And combined with what you have already, you can then say, okay, it fits or it's not fitting. Yeah, and then you can actually move more towards this direction. as I said, it's not my first choice. I would not recommend it from the beginning. Yeah. But if you, I mean, if you start with something very new, it tends to be like, you know, it's a white space. Yeah. It's no white spot. It's not like marketing instruments that has been published, I don't know, for how many thousand times here.
Yeah, this is quite interesting. By the way, thanks for that reference. I knew it. I'm definitely going to look into it. One of the things an approach I was considering was I'd sort of tried to look at it sort of very grounded theory-ish wise. We're saying no a priori literature research or review, or no literature review at all, but sort of just look at the data. And this is sort of what the idea I came up with. Okay, this is what I see, but then who says something about this? The closest thing is Appio, having to try to frame everything. But again, the risk is that, you know, if you try to explain everything, you explain nothing. But I was thinking more of this sort of grounded theory approach. And I know that in some circles, this is, I mean, there are not many papers that actually are published with this, and I'm not, yeah. So this was one of the things I was considering. I mean, do you have any advice, any suggestions, any comments on this? Again, it was just something, some reflections that that I've had, but I'm not sure I want to pursue that. I'm just, you know, keeping my options open.
Mm.
Can you, Tina, can you give an example of these gray area? Where's from your empirical research?
Yeah.
What did they say to you when you asked, is it this or that? And then they said, well, I cannot, it is not a clear cut. Well, try to elaborate a little.
The gray literature, it's some of these, it's some of the classic.
I'm not asking about the literature. I'm asking about you make this explorative study, and you were out in the companies, the small, medium-sized companies, right? And then you have found what I call a real world problem, as I also have put in the podium here, namely that it is not possible to make a clear-cut distinction and categorization of what levels and challenge, blah blah. But can you give an example of what they told you, and because you have found this real world problem? Because I'm interested in how might that be the point of departure for a research question. And I just got the feeling that you have to come up with a framework which is based on scales or on continuums instead of matrices, and then try it out again with them and say, okay, can you put in here if I ask you to put it on this scale, this continuum and this it's just a feeling I got.
Okay, there's a couple of things there, but sort of just to sort of answer the first part of your question is an example. Well, for example, one of the things I encountered was a board of directors that was reluctant to engage in digitalization, despite the CEO said, I mean, we really have to go this way because our customers, I mean, we have to do something about that. Now, the way he talks about it is actually the problem there is that this board of directors, they don't have any competences. I mean, they don't know anything about digitalization. This is an old family-run business, so it's, you know, friends and family who, I don't know, well, there might be one who knows something about business, but nobody knows something about digitalization. So, you know, again, this is where do you put that? Yeah, you can put it at the micro level, but again, it affects some decisions at the meso and also even sometimes at the macro level, but at the meso level. And so then this is just one example of then can you actually even use this framework? I mean, do you use it to find out what is the origin of the problem, or where does it come out, or whatever. So, and this is just one example, and you can find that also this challenge that they were reluctant. It also provides other challenges. For example, on competence development and strategic issues that they cannot agree on. So things that they're not so clear cut. I mean, they are interwoven, they are interrelated. This is sort of my point when I look at this. You said, and I'm curious about this because you said, Klaus, you think it's more a scale versus a continuum problem versus a matrix. Can you explain this to me just so I get it, please?
Yeah, but this is just because you're right. There's no clear cut. Normally, when there's no clear cut, the alternative is a continuum.
Yeah. Okay.
So that might be an argument for looking in that direction, putting up. I think it should be a very simple framework, because if the target group is actually small and medium-sized companies which don't have the digitalization competences, but they say we do have a demand from our customers about digitalization, what can they do? Obviously, they can power their board with an expert or something like that, but it's just not enough, because what then?
Yeah, this is also something that I've discussed here within my research group, because the first draft, I mean, I am there, that I've actually drafted this paper. And this is the second iteration that I'm looking at now, doing a third iteration on it. That it perhaps became a bit too fuzzy, beginning to come up with solutions. So what I want to do is actually say, no, this is not a solutions paper. This is a challenge paper. Just keep it clean about challenges and looking at that.
Yeah. Then you should probably think of it as a research in progress publication.
Yeah.
I know Daniel, he hates that format. I love it. I like to put my papers in that format because my research is always in progress.
Yeah, I mean, because again, and this is sort of what questions do I end up with at the end of looking at this snapshot, because it is a snapshot, and say, okay, so this is sort of what the next thing that I could look at, or what we should consider in research. I'm thinking, yeah.
I mean, it depends on, Tina. It depends on how far you are with your results. Okay. Of course, it depends on your publication strategy. So if you say, okay, I will publish as a research in progress, which is fine, Klaus, it's no problem, and you consider to publish, the next extended paper or the full paper for the next ISPIM, or you want to submit it for a journal, that's fine. I mean, that depends on your publication strategy, right? Because I mean, yeah. What we do is we also try to always, publish at the ISPIM, to test it, to discuss it also, right? To get feedback, valuable feedback, and then to target for a journal. But then we have to add more to it. We never publish a paper one by one that we've published at the ISPIM in a journal. It's impossible. I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so we always have, what we did one year was we had on one summer we had the literature review part for digital strategy. In the second year, we had the case studies and the interviews. And then we combined both and published it to a journal, right? And that's legit. That's nothing illegal or something like that. And when you ask about the grounded theory, I think this is also something you should consider, right? Your research question will always define your research design and your research method. Yeah, I mean, this is interconnected, but also your outlet is defining somehow, right, what kind of research design you will choose, because the outlet defines the topic, and in certain domains you have certain research methods that are common, right? So it can be helpful if you try to publish something in a journal with a completely new research method, but maybe eventually, or in many cases, they will be irritated. They will say, okay, what's this? It doesn't fit to our way of thinking. Yeah. So this is the sound story, right? And if you take grounded theory, it's somehow connected maybe to action research a little bit, right? So you can decide, do you focus more on grounded theory, you focus more on action research, or design science, which is like the overall domain, so to say. So I think you can choose from there, but I feel is you always have to justify, right? Always have to say, okay, I choose this method because of this and this and this and this reason. And what you do is, I think, quite interesting, because if you have interviews and case studies, and you have empirical work. Yeah, you're not just repeating something what someone has written. So you have empirical work you rely on, which is something new, right? At least the way of research method you applied, or the topic. And this is also very helpful, right?
Yeah. Okay. Some good inputs there. Yeah. Thank you.
I just posted something also on Padlet. I also uploaded the 2 papers for multivocal.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay, just feel free to use it.
But perhaps we should move forward, because we have 2 more to present.
True.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really liked it also because you're providing very also, it's not only tailor-made feedback to Tina, but also some, I'm learning a lot today thanks to your experience. Really appreciate it.
Okay, you finished, Leandro. You finished already.
Yeah. That's good. But you're never finished. Someone in Valencia told me that you are sometimes a lecturer, but always a student. But I don't want to share the name of that people. It was a good guy. Okay, we have Stefano and Michele, because I see that Elena, she is not there. So we start with Napoli or Milan. You choose. I support Napoli. So, but you choose. Who wants to start, Stefano or Michele?
Let's go.
Would you be the first?
Yeah. It's okay.
Go, Stefano. Go.
Marchese goes on the terraferma, so you have to start.
Okay. So, I'm Michele. As Leandro said, I come from Napoli. So, sorry if I gesticulate while I'm talking, but I'm the south part of Italy, so probably it's the roast part. So, in any case, try to understand me. Okay, Prof. The apple salmon and rosenstad. My area of research was investigating about the element inside the digital, the web and digital. And what I would like to understand is I would like the communication of innovation, physical innovation product or services, not digital, not innovative digital services, because for me it's a completely different thing. I started to read something about Roberto Vergandi that what really fascinated me, and about the point of the innovation of meeting, that even for me is still a little bit strange, but for me is very, very interesting. The idea of innovation meetings that we think about, in particular using the framework of Vergandi, that is not a real framework, is that the communicate and selling and make an innovation very, very successful was all about the communication, because using Verganti's framework was a step that starting from the entrepreneur with a larger group of entrepreneurs to a movement to the managers, and at the end to the end clients. That's why I was thinking about to start a closed environment, communication environment. That is the web page, the single web page of a single physical product, and which element of this page, the user interface element, more affect about the unit sold. As I told you before, but I repeat, that was why, because in my idea, maybe my hypothesis is that what really fostered the clients to acquire something very innovative, to buy something very innovative on the website, is about something that can understood very well. Probably the videos will affect more, because if I'm an innovative company, but I'm very, very young, there is nothing about me on the website, so no more information about something that even my client does not understand, does have never seen, probably I will fail. That's why I know the topic is not completely digital, but I would like to start in the digital world, this communication in the digital world. And if I can find the first step, I don't know, if I can find the first hint that tell me, I don't know, that maybe the links element, you know, moving from a page to another page to understand better the company or the product, can help the unit sold, probably it's I have to investigate about the communication, the brand and the innovation and the communication innovation inside the world, the web world. What do you think about? Can you hear me? Okay.
Oh, yes. Please tell me, what is an innovative product? Just very short, in your context.
Okay, what is reported by Vergandi is the innovation meeting. Innovative product is like this bookworm. It is a sort of bookcase that is not just a furniture as a normal bookcase or library, but thanks to an advanced material, can be undesigned furniture, and at the same time even the main part of the house, because you know it's some like a shelf that can be modulated and can be used as a strange bookcase. This is what Verganti means as innovation of meaning. That means changing the way you think about the product and not providing an innovative solution, so an advanced but just a different way of thinking about the same product. This is the meaning for me of the innovation, and I quite agree with Verganti about this, even if sometimes we can fall in a very, sorry, I don't find the right word, but some stupid example. This one that I provided to you, it seems to me quite interesting.
And what if we look to the innovation management community,
Yes.
how will they prosper from this?
I will repeat.
What? Yeah, how will the innovation management community prosper from a platform like this?
So what does the innovation community can gain about my research? Is it this the request?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not to be rude or anything. It's
No,
just
you are right. No, you are right, bro. I'm here for this. What I think is that starting from your same question, what does you mean? What I mean about what is an innovative product? There is a big, maybe so many ideas, so many streets about what is the innovation. And what I think really matter about innovation is the changing the way to use physical product or service, because if innovation is something is not, as we can see, it's not about just technology advance, because in this case it's more research and development. It's something about the behavior of the citizens, the user behavior, and of course something that has been fostering and pushing by the same entrepreneurial idea. That's why I want to that's why for me it's a good proposal to maybe shift, maybe create a little channel about the bonding between innovation and brand. That maybe it's the real another real true and new topic. When I was a student, when we were talking about innovation, everyone started to talk about innovation about Apple. That for me were not so innovative, as we know that Steve Jobs for each product start a sort of parade, starting millions of events, etc., etc., etc. Probably because all these what is called innovation, starting from Apple, of course, has been adopted by the lead user, that as we know what they are, and of course another type of user that are just fascinated about Apple brand, just this. So can we say when we talk about just innovation, do we have to talk about communication and brand, about the successful innovation?
So what I understand you're saying is that when we do develop an innovative product,
yes,
which at some point should be communicated,
yes,
digitally, then we need to, or we should, include the communication of the product in the development process, and it might actually change the product and give feedback to the innovation process. Is that correct understood?
Yes, quite, yes.
Okay, so what is the correlation between the communication and the innovation process? Or is there, probably there, it's not just a relation, they are intervened, right?
Sorry, Prof, I have maybe a problem with the line.
Okay, what I'm asking is, there might be a correlation or a causality between the innovation process and the communication of the innovative product. There might be a causality, but there might also be a correlation, meaning that the two things are intervened. So if you start thinking about how you should communicate your innovative product from the very beginning of the innovative process, to innovation and might constrain, but probably also leverage your innovation capacity. Is that correct understood?
Yes. Yes, Prof.
Maybe
I think it's interesting. I don't know anything about this field, but I think it's interesting.
Maybe in addition, Michele.
Yes.
I would try to frame your topic on a clearer basis. I think it's very interesting on the one side, but I think it's very specific. So if you try to define your research gap, your research objective, clarify what kind of research questions you would like to answer, and then I think you're on a good way if you combine what your idea with proper research methods, right, and also following the quality criteria, validity, and so on, and then try to generalize your results, okay? Because you're not working deductive, you're working inductive, okay? So you create some results, you know, on a very practical and very evidence-based level, but then you should try to find a way how to generalize these results, right? How to justify that it's like valid research, right? Not, I mean, I don't want to be rude, don't misunderstand me, but you know, just to make sure that whatever you do is you know, justified and is also relevant, You know, so nobody can say, well, okay, he's just proving 1 or 2 cases, or it's just on this very practical level. Yeah, so find a way how to maybe compare different kind of countries, different kind of product categories. You know, try to frame it more or less to show what's the actual result, and focus on the description, on a very clear description of the research design. You know.
Okay, thanks.
Any other suggestions? I also use the time for thanks the people that are really enjoying providing some feedback. Thanks a lot to Rovian as well. You are free to add your feedback also during the time. Do you have other suggestions or insights for Michele? I know, Michele, that the innovation by design field as a long tradition in the Italian culture, as you know. It's, I think that Politecnico Milano around Roberto Verganti they are trying to develop such things, and I'm thinking that probably if you dig a little bit deeper on that recent research, recently published in R&D Management, Journal of Product Innovation Management as well, I think that you will find a relevant gap, because you are very specific. You are working on a very specific topic, which is also relevant for our practitioners. Therefore, I think that if you dig deeper, you may also find a research academic gap about this. And I think that you're on a good road, also thanks to the comments by Klaus and Daniel.
Okay, thank you.
I have a shoot from the hip or something here, because if you think about, or if these innovative products should have some kind of be disruptive in a market or something like that, then Clayton Christensen, he later said, well, we don't know what to do about disruption. So he made this book, Competing Against Luck, with a job to be done theory, where he say, well, we don't put the customer in the center. We put the progress that the customer wants, and it's actually changed make a huge change to the understanding. For instance, I think the McDonald's, they made this milkshake where they had tried to improve with job to be done theory, and they improved their sales of milkshake with a factor 4 or something in the US. So it is a really a strong thing. So what I'm thinking about here is that, okay, if I'm very, very specific on how to communicate the job that my innovative product will do for the customer, what progress can I actually achieve by this product or service, then it might have a very positive impact on the innovation process, and thus also have an implication for innovation management and how to manage innovation processes. It's just an idea.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Michele, just a quick question.
Yes.
What is the advancement? Is just an idea for the moment, or have you already started to?
About this?
Yeah.
No, it was just an idea because I'm quite forced to work about other stuff. It was an idea for the Copenhagen conference, but I will not join. So I will develop it, I think, after April.
Okay. Thank you. Just, yeah, curiosity to say, because of course, especially for the topic, if you have some like slide that support you, it's more easy also to imagine like some sort of framework and so on. But of course,
I know that it's too much, probably it's a mix of all, but as I told you before, is just a starting point to join to even another line about innovation I'm working on.
Very great.
Okay, thank you.
Interesting. If there are any other comments, I will move to our last but not least, of course, presenter. I was talking about Poly Milano, and actually, I think that you are from Poly Milano, right? Right? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So we have Stefano. Hi, Stefano. I'm so happy to.
I
You have 2 papers. Oh my God, they're too much. It's too much.
No, definitely is too much, but yeah, I'm basically the reminder are really important. And when I see the 19, your email in 19, I thought just operative things, the Zoom link. And this morning I say, okay, maybe I have to do something and put something on the Padlet. And so I have a sort of suspense because basically I didn't give any insight about my research. By the way, I have some slides to support me on the discussion, but yeah, in general, just to be brief, I would like to have, yeah, I anticipated three words. So I decided to, by the way, present these 3 words, but of course not so much. I would like to have some. Can you see my screen, right? Hello?
Yes, we see.
Can you see my screen, the slide?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, basically I would like to have 3 main feedback. The first one on the general framework, if convinced you, that is the general framework of my PhD thesis. I'm in the 3rd year. The second one is about the first paper, that is a bibliometric review. And the concern is basically more on the possibility to publication, because I know that literature and bibliometric basically are quite difficult. So if you have some hints and so on. And the third one is the focus is more on experimentation and innovation. So general, free to give feedback. In general, the idea is that use structuring and exponential thinking is the main outcome that I want to give on my PhD through the dynamic capabilities, because according to my bibliometric review, is the best theoretical lens to grasp the concept of exponential organization. Here, of course, are some topics of the context, like digital technologies, the need to change the mindset, the need to pursue a lot of challenges simultaneously, and an interesting key of interpretation of exponential organization that gaining momentum in empirical setting, but is almost ignored by the literature. So basically, I try to highlight some limitation that are, for example, exponential are basically digital technologies, or the fact that I want to say that talk about exponential organization doesn't mean that you have to compare the companies according to the financial standpoint, because this doesn't mean anything, but it's more the focus should be and must be on organizational design, innovation, and decision making. What make some sort of special this company, and then can be a nice takeaway also for the others, is that they use 3 main paradigms. The first is abundance over scarcity. The second is technology and knowledge over physical assets. And the third one is collaboration over competition. These lead on exponential thinking that help the companies to develop strong dynamic capabilities that, according also to the literature, help in general the companies to adapt and change themselves, continuously change the resource base. And so here is the general context, and a lot of exponential organization is a huge literature that grasps everything from innovation, from technology, from entrepreneurship. But in the end, we can put everything on these 2 lenses. I will use the dynamic capabilities lenses, but everything such as innovation ecosystem, that is my last topic of my PhD thesis, can be considered in organizational design perspective and experimentation and so on. So here is connected also to dynamic capabilities, that is a strong concept in literature, but often it's not easy to understand what dynamic capabilities look like in organization, and there is a need for empirical contribution and concrete framework. We want to use basically the procedural dimension of these that is based on sensing, sizing, and transforming. And here is the general overall of the thesis. So with the first paper that is on literature review, and this, the main outcome, the main output is say that dynamic capabilities is a promising lens to study this concept. And then I decide like 3 organizational domains from the evidence that we find in the literature, the gaps, and also from, to be honest, to convenience in a certain way, because of course is my focus is on organizational design. So I want to work on the intersecting between these 3 organizational domains and how these domains are on the sensing, sizing, and transforming, with the big question that all the case studies starting with this big question, that is, how do exos structure, etc., etc. So adaptive organizational design, experimentation, and so on. About the first paper, you can see here that the main research question is, of course, understand the theoretical lenses and the future research agenda. These are the sample selection where we put a lot of synonyms with criteria, such as agile organization. We try to mitigate the risk to go too much on the technology literature using the subject area of business, social, and decision-making. Or, for example, high-growth firms has a lot of relevance in the literature, and so we decide to include only 41 papers that come from the top journal. And then we focus on dynamic capabilities. Really, I will try to be fast. Here is the general overlook, and you can see here that everything is in the intertwining between innovation and agility, and the green part is a bit more older, as you can see on the right. Here is the reason why we decided to go for dynamic capabilities, basically for because it's the one that is not on the keywords. For example, I expect that agile organization is in the cluster, but I don't put the dynamic capabilities in the keywords, for example. So it's the higher occurrence, and their relevance is augmented also by the fact that in this concept, there are, for example, organizational agility that is considered by several scholars a subset of dynamic capabilities, and highlighted some gaps for potential future. The second finding, the second achievement of my research, you have already seen basically from the structure, because the bibliometric review helped me a lot to grounding the general research thesis. And here you can see how information management and technologies basically deal with the role of digital technologies associated with people and corporate performance. So can be included also in organizational design from the perspective of technology, and the ecosystem concept can be included in new organizational models, and to the meso level of dynamic capabilities, that is the level of interaction between firm and people. And there are some surprising aspects, such as product and startup from the from the reading of the paper is included basically on organizational design. And even if intuitively knowledge management should be near to organization design, is in reality quite distant from that. And the other paper here highlighted one organizational domains, and ambidextrous experimenting for us means basically this. So why is important experiment and ambidextrous? Because all the companies should have a semi-continuous activity in order to avoid organizational inertia, remain flexible, and so on in a context that is extremely turbulent. And so experimentation is crucial. There are two main points, experimentation and ambidexterity, that again, here we use ambidexterity, but is a part of dynamic capabilities. It's also from the perspective of Birkinshaw. And here I highlighted some gaps. So we are not, for the best of my knowledge, there is not so much knowledge on how non-digital companies deal with randomized experiment, how experimentation help ambidexterity, and the various way on how the companies approach in ambidextrous way. For example, literature say that in general companies experiment only for exploitation and not for exploration. So here is the main research question with the first focus is how they work with experiment. The second is connected to the connection between experimentation and ambidexterity. And the third one, sub-question, is more on the macro level, on how experimentation and pursue ambidexterity help the macro level of the organization. Here is how, sorry for the animation. In general, I made 22 interviews to 15 companies, and I use an interpretative and holistic multiple case study, and I grasp everything with a data analysis based on Joya methodology that collect the quotes and unify them in a first level, then in a second, and then of course I develop my proposition that have two propositions focus on the pivotal role of data availability. The first one is that data-driven, so exponential organization are focused on statistic, and non-data-driven are focused on feedback loop. And the proposition number two have some consideration on make or buy choices. And here I have highlighted how the different company can be bring on the table of differentiation and integration approaches with some interesting aspect that seems that all the exponential organization, data-driven companies, as you can see, use an integrative approaches in general, and all the traditional one and consulting one use the differentiation approaches. An interesting fact is, for example, that Reply, that is a consulting company from Italy, that use an ecosystem, a network-like organization based on subunit that are actually small company that work in a network way, is an integration approach. So our assumption is that probably this network-like structure help to develop a culture, and so have an integration approaches. Or One Day and Gamino, that are startup, they use a differentiation approaches, probably because they don't have yet enough data in order to use an integration approaches. And so last but not the least, on on the macro level, highlight also some organizational culture aspects that are, of course, the fact that experimentation is relevant more than yesterday, the evaluation criteria, and the fact that in order to experiment in an ambidextrous way, all the company should have like a culture, an experimentation culture that basically learn from failure. Sorry if I goes, I don't know how much time.
Okay, thank you, Stefano. I have to leave soon. This is why I just will jump in and start.
Okay.
I would like to know, because you said in the last topic you just presented, you applied interviews, right?
Yeah.
How did you analyze them? Do you use QCA map and you have the qualitative content analysis? How did you code? Did you have like the double coding independent, or how did you work there?
I have coding with Joya methodology. So I made like first level coding, try to grasp all the quotes from the interview, and highlighted like a sort of pattern. And then I go with a second coding level, or always try to connect the literature. So I let the interview speaking freely during the interviews, but then I grasp everything and I put the quotes, and then with a first coding level I try to cluster a bit, and then I made a second layer cluster, so the coding second level, using also like the comparison with the literature review from what I learned, and so finally from the third one I try to highlight the proposition, and then I started from the proposition to the framework.
Okay, I just posted 2 links on a QCA map and on qualitative content analysis. Maybe also for the others could be interesting, because I think what we find is that if you say, okay, we do interviews, that's fine, right, in many cases. But if you dig deeper and you try to put more, more validity to it, more relevance to it, I think it's very helpful if you have like a really streamlined and really, strongly based coding aspect, and also the application of the qualitative content analysis. Okay, in general, I think you did a very good job, because I think you presented already some results. It's not just some idea or concept. It's very progress. So thank you for that.
At the moment, basically, I'm struggling because I have a paper that I will submit in the next 10 days, I hope. And this one that are running, so basically I have to, I have already decided, I have already mined the journal for the experimentation part, but of course I have to study more the various journals that can be also innovation, but creativity and innovation management or others,
exactly,
in order to like be aligned with the submission. And to be honest, on the literature review, I don't know if I can go for a publishing, because I really like it and I think it's useful, but I know that it's often difficult to publish like literature review.
Yes.
So I don't know if you have some ideas of on that.
This is why I added some research questions, because you might use that if you want to publish the literature. You can see in the Padlet I added some.
Yeah, I have seen it.
Then you would have you would definitely have a paper, I think, for a literature review if you.
Yeah, but
it doesn't have to be those specific. It was just ideas, and it doesn't have to be all of them. So, but I think this. so much to discuss in so little time. EXOs, exponential organizations. I read the Ismail Salim's book, Exponential Organizations, when it came out, and I think there's a general problem here that it is full of claims, but it also makes so much sense. So we need proofs, and literature studies don't prove anything. I mean, just collect knowledge. So that's just, there are something to address there about the level of the foundation of this field. And when you point towards the fact that an exponential organization have to have a 10x impact compared to competitors, well, that might be a capability, but it also have to grow exponential. And to this end, big companies in the mainstream market, well, they might make new business departments and new organizations that can grow exponential. But when you are up in the top market, it is very hard to increase your turnover with a double every year. Well, Amazon might be able to do it. There are some. So, but I also think there are something there. Then I saw one thing that you are looking into the how to orchestrate ecosystems, and I have actually looked into that specific topic and also published in Daniel's last book, published at Springer, a paper about it, but it's also published in Research Outreach. So I just shared a link there where I ask how to orchestrate the innovation managers of these ecosystems. I look into the Danish digital tech ecosystems. And actually the way we define these digital tech startups to be part of this ecosystem is that they have to be EXOs. We just don't use the word. So there might be something of interest in that you can use. And if you are looking into that direction, you're very welcome to contact me, because I think it's very interesting.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to leave. Klaus,
yeah, see you, Daniel.
Sorry, thank you for being here. I just posted the link of our ISPIM group, the special interest group on LinkedIn. If you want to follow us and connect, feel free to do so. All the best from my side. Bye.
Thank you, Daniel. I really wanted to say thank you very much for your kind.
Yeah, we should probably start, but Stefano, feel free to reach out if you want to discuss the ecosphere thing.
Yeah, I'm starting now with the interviews to some company. So at the moment I'm struggling to contact some company, and of course that makes sense. On the part of an innovation ecosystem, I'm starting basically from Jacobides, the work of Jacobides.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between orchestrating to orchestrate an ecosystem and to orchestrate the innovation managers of the ecosystems.
Right.
Okay. So this is the perspective that you like, basically. Yeah. Innovation. Okay. Orchestrate, innovation manager, and okay. This is nice because it's also in line with my my perspective is basically more, my lens is more an organizational design perspective. So it's cool.
Very good. Luke, amazing. Another amazing session. I'm so sorry that I have to close it. I really wanted to thank you all, and I'm seeing in the panel also new comments. Thank you very much for you to have contributed to this. And thanks once more, Klaus. Your special interest group is doing so much for us at the junior researcher community. So really thank you. Looking forward to work with you at the Junior Researcher Lab in Copenhagen. And last but not least, I just want to steal, let's say, 2 minutes from you about the following steps, because you do not know what will happen tomorrow actually, but probably you already know that in the end of next month, precisely the 25th of February, we have our deadline for the outline submissions at the ISPIM conference then in Copenhagen 2022, which will be hybrid. So hey, Michele, think about this. Maybe you may join from Naples and you ate something, I don't know, you may have a coffee, and we have a Danish, a cinnamon bun, I love cinnamon bun.
I do my best.
Very good. And actually, but we as junior researcher, but mostly it's not thanks to us, but it's thanks to the special interest group, we want to support you during this process of outline writing. I'm seeing, for example, I'm just taking Stefan, who was the last one. You already have papers, you have already a lot of information. So you probably will just need to figure out how to put it on a ISPIM structured outline. But also those who have an idea, please think about the outline. I really wanted to suggest you to publish the outline at our ISPIM, conference submission center. And if you hurry up a little bit, because the deadline is the 25th, but if you work a little bit faster, our special interest group leaders accepted to give you a short feedback about your outline before submitting to ISPIM. So that's a very prestigious and unique opportunity of a sort of pre-peer review before the peer reviews that we will have through our scientific process. So that's open for all of you. We received 15 paper submission from you, but think about this. You may also think about maybe in this month you figure out that you wanted to do something else, something different topic about our 4 special interest group. So practically speaking, in the next weeks, if you wanted to do so, you just try to structure the outline. You may send it to me directly, and I will send to the dedicated person. We have 4 persons at the Digital Disruption Transformation Special Interest Group that may help you. Besides Klaus and Daniel, we also have Frank, we have Heibi, we have Sabrina Schneider, all people that are happy to help you. From the Health and Innovation, we have Mona. From the Responsible Innovation, we don't have only Mark and Eliza, we also have Tatiana, we have Ellen. So there are plenty of people that will support, of course, also from the AI, Helena, Sergey. So all senior researchers that are really willing to help you structure better your outline before the 25th. So that's the first step. No meeting before the 25th, but you may interact with me and I will put in contact with the relevant person. After the 25th, of course.
I must add that it should not be the day before the 25th,
yeah,
because we might also have something to submit.
Right, totally. Yeah. Just try to do it at least 10 days before, so they can read something, they can provide you with some feedbacks, and then you may receive it by the 25th, and on the 25th at midnight Danish hours, you may submit it. That's not a bit secret. I think that we received 30% in the last 2 hours. So 30% of the submission are late night of the 25th of February. We are used to it. And after that, you probably know that those of our accepted have to submit the paper by April, almost about April. So my suggestion is that instead of having other 2, 3, 4 sessions, we may have 2 additional sessions in April and May before ISPIM conference to practice your presentation. So you will have the paper a little bit more developed, almost ready to submit to ISPIM. and then you submit it to me, but all the technicalities I will provide you in the next month. And so you have the opportunities to present again, but in a structured manner, a little bit more structured than in these 4 sessions, according to the regular ISPIM, guidelines. So the guidelines we have is maximum 7 slides, 10 minutes, and then there is Q&A. And in that session, we will host again the special interest group leaders and also other people that may help you to prepare before the ISPIM conference. So that's a sort of, I call it, it's an acceleration program for your paper presentation in Copenhagen. So it's entirely up to you. It's not mandatory to do it, but we are here to support. If you need something different, something else, you may reach out to me. Our goal, it's to help you as much as we can, because we believe that actually the junior researcher community is based on you. So you are the junior researcher community, and after you will be junior, you will become, I hope, members of the different special interest group in ISPIM. And welcome to this family, and that will be great. Thank you very much again. If you don't have any other question, I'm here. I leave Klaus to the 1,000 things he has to do for today. And I'm very looking forward to hear you. So if you need something, if you need some feedback on the outline, you write it, send it to me as soon as you can. And then I will act as a sort of orchestrator, ecosystem orchestrator. That's good. Thank you very much. I really enjoy being there with you all. Thank you, Klaus, again.
I hope to see all of you in Copenhagen, and I didn't even get the time to tell you about all the good things that will happen, but it will be in the program.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
Thank you.